So let's take a look at the new Kawasaki ZX-4RR Ninja, which I went and ogled at my local Kawasaki dealer MotoHUB Castle Hill in Sydney, taking my camera along to capture the details in the metal and plastic. No test ride or review at this stage, the ZX-4RR is sold out locally until December, while the unwanted ZX-4R, that's still looking for a home and isn't a demo. Pricing here in Australia is 15k right away for the RR or close enough, with the standard R priced at just under 14k, and apparently not getting the same love as that RR, which receives upgraded suspension and the quickshifter out of the box, as well as of course that KRT colour scheme, which is pretty spicy indeed. To me that's not cheap, but landing at basically 650cc class pricing is pretty good considering the loadout and performance, especially with the ZX-6R 636 just under 18k here as the next step up. That is quite a jump after all. Not everyone's going to get the appeal of a high revving small capacity 4-cylinder, riders seem quite divided on the idea, but there's nothing new here. What do the kids say these days? If you know, you know. As a little background, we get the full power version here in Australia, which means it's not a lamb's legal motorcycle for beginner riders, but we also didn't cop a power restricted version like America and Canada, which means their version, performance wise, isn't really all that much ahead of a Ninja 400, and it's way heavier. Suckers. From what I've heard, that's actually down to sound limitations more than emissions, and obviously it's an easy fix with a reflash or tune, but it's a pretty sad state of affairs that we'd least expect to see in the USA of all places. We can probably blame California for that one though. As to the bike itself, the ZX-4R and RR are obviously a step up in production quality over the Ninja 400 as I saw in person. A bit more solid overall, matching the heftier weight figure and bulkier overall feel of the 636 from a hands-on perspective. This Ninja is just a more substantial machine, particularly noticeable at the forks, in the cockpit, and rolling the bike around where that extra weight is undeniable. It's not overwhelming, let's be realistic, but the Ninja 400 is a featherweight compared to most road bikes. Perhaps most interestingly is the fact the ZX-4RR isn't full Supersport ergos. The seat height is only 800mm, and I took the opportunity to have a sit on board. Not as tall as I thought, not as weighted onto your wrists either, more like the Ninja 400 than the 636, and I'd guess a more comfortable option than any of the real 600 Supersports by a decent margin. Full lock does have the bars quite tight into the tank, but the less aggressive bar height and angle offset this somewhat. A smaller rider may find this bike a little bit more of a stretch, however I'd say for an average rider like myself it's quite relaxed. A direct comparison to the Ninja does have the bars looking quite a bit more aggressive though, and that is just at a glance. It just didn't feel that pronounced on the bike. Peg position wasn't a big standout, typically sporty but not overly roomy or overly tight as far as the stretch between the seat and the pegs. Obviously a longer ride will be the true test here, but I was impressed. Chances are there's plenty of older riders buying one of these machines, and I'd guess many are happy with a slightly more relaxed sports bike. There's a clear TFT dash, busier controls due to the electronics, including ride modes and traction control, and you've got the adjustment on the top of the right fork for preload. The regular old ZX-4R misses out on fork adjustment in contrast and gets the lower spec shock too. Riders generally want the high spec machines, but I'd be interested to see how the standard ZX-4R feels comfort-wise on Australian roads, which are generally none too good. To me, the Ninja 400 nails that proposition. It's a good all-rounder, but not too harsh. I'd probably settle for a ZX-4R over the RR if there was a quickshifter thrown in for free, and the ride met my expectations on the suspension front, which are probably 50-50 commuter to sport. The quickshifter is an obvious bonus on the RR, and one I'd be reluctant to do without on this style of bike. I mean, who am I kidding? I want a quickshifter on everything now. The exhaust is nicer than what we see on the Ninja 400s too, although across the showroom looking at the CBR 650R, the headers are very utilitarian indeed, where the Hondas by contrast are an absolute work of art. The ZX-4RR has its own unique appeal of course. Taking a closer look, the frame is a trellis design, so not as sexy as the 636s as we've known it would be. The screen is quite small and low, and we're not seeing a fancier brake or master cylinder setup as we'd expect if the price was nearer to the 636, although obviously you are getting the dual brake setup at the front. This is an eye-catching machine, iconically Kawasaki, and a step away from the increasingly same approaches we're seeing in the market. Parallel twins anyone? Much like the H2 in fact. Obviously, this isn't going to be the top selling Kawasaki. These will have been brought in limited numbers, hence the demand and weight, but the move seems to have been a success. Now I've just got to hope a demo bike rolls into town and I get a chance to test ride one myself, and I'll have a review up if that does eventuate. For now, this is a cool machine, and despite what the haters may say, it deserves its time in the limelight, if for nothing else that Kawasaki are doing something a little different. It's kind of crazy too that the ZX-6R is still under 18k here in Australia, and I kind of figured they might follow the market with the 2024 model and push that price right up for more breathing room for the ZX-4RR. Overall, the ZX-10 here is now 29k on the road, and the Supersport 600 segment is very much on the decline in popularity, with pricing ever increasing it seems. But nope, Kawasaki have kept the ZX-6R the most affordable option of the class as far as I can tell. I'd have said the 636 was always the pick of the Supersports too, for the road at least, although I did really love the Daytona as well. Anyway, if you like the idea of the ZX-4R and are in Sydney, head into MotoHUB to check it out. The regular version is still up for sale in the blacked out finish, and there's a nice depth to that paint. It's quite the looker really, just sitting in the shadow of the KRT versions when they're there alongside it. Would I buy one? I'd have to ride one, but it wouldn't be a bad replacement for the Ninja 400, although for the price I would be tempted to upgrade to a bigger, more all-purpose bike. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, and stay safe out there.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Casamigos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on the tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine. Got a fine little body and her mind's kinda naughty. They say that once you taste it, you cannot replace it. She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's a creation. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even he couldn't learn how to contain it. Her high heels make a damn good statement. There is no replacement, a body by Satan. She got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase, Casamigos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine.